All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, head baseball coach of the Old Dominion Monarchs, Chris Finwood. Coach, appreciate your time. How you doing today, man?
Oh, my pleasure. Always good to talk to you guys.
Hey, before we talk about your team, I want to talk about you a little bit. VMI Hall of Famer, and saw that you hit 399. Did you ever try to get like one of those errors changed to a hit so you could hit
Yeah, I don't
400?
send I didn't send our sports info guy any Christmas cards for a while because of that. I figured he could have switched one of those, right?
399. That's a hell of a batting average, though.
Well, that was a
Uh,
long time ago.
what kind of player were you before you got into coaching?
Well, I was a lead off 1-2 hole kind of left-handed hitting shortstop, so I could
Uh-huh.
run a little bit, and I found myself a good defender. I took a lot of pride in that, and sometimes the type of player you were affects the type of coach you are. So we try to be a good defensive ball club. We're not exactly succeeding at that yet this year, but I think we've got the makings to be. We've just got to iron some things out.
Coach, did you try to get into pro ball before getting into coaching, or did you go right into coaching?
Yeah, I went right into coaching. I don't think back then there was a 50-round draft, and I remember my dad saying, "Man, if they don't draft you in the 50 rounds, then you probably ought to think about doing something else." And he was right, and he never gave me any advice that I didn't think ended up being right. So he was right there again, and I was lucky enough to get right into coaching right out of college, and now this is 36 years doing this, so
Man,
at the Division 1 level, so it's a blessing.
yeah, a lot of wins for coach, and these teams coming off similar games, at least beating good opponents. You guys knocking off UConn, salvaging a series. East Carolina doing the same against Coastal. How about the 8-6 start for your ball club? What's going right, and then what do you need to fix here?
Yeah, I think we're getting closer to maybe having a better plan with the pitchers. We had so many new pitchers. It's taken us a little while there. Out of those 14 games, we've been out of two, and we've had a chance to win all the other ones. And we've won some and lost some. I think it's been the last few weekends been a pretty good schedule with Charlotte and UConn, and we've had a chance to we lost 7-6 to Charlotte, we lost 4-2 to UConn on Friday, and we just didn't make enough routine plays on Friday. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot there. But yesterday we played better, and got a couple big hits and pitched well. So still trying to figure the roles out. We've had some guys we thought were going to be starters. You know how it goes in college baseball. Unless you got a bunch of dudes back, like it takes a little while. And go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about you. You mentioned all the new arms and kind of the new era of college baseball, college athletics, especially a veteran coach like yourself. How have you kind of handled the last few years with all the changes?
Yeah, unfortunately for us, the whole portal thing has coincided with us not having a stadium because of the new stadium construction, and that's going to be awesome when it's done in June or July. But it's really hurt, trying to bring a kid in that's maybe a transfer type kid, and you don't have anything to show them other than pictures, and people still buy with their eyes. So I think that's been a challenge certainly for us, and this summer when the portal rolls around again, we'll have more to show. We'll be able to walk them in there and meet with them and things of that nature. But having said that, we're still trying to build our program through high school and junior college guys mostly, and just create a little bit of continuity. I know a lot of people aren't doing it that way, but I still like the development side of our business and watching kids come in and get bigger and stronger and better, and turn into guys for you.
Coach, in a tough league with the Sun Belt, Southern Miss, and teams at the top, we got to look at Troy here in Greenville. But who are what's the class of the Sun Belt looking like this year?
Well, Southern Miss off to a great start. I mean, they're ranked in the top 10, and I've watched them a few times on TV. They look pretty good, and Coastal's always good. You guys just saw, especially down there. We got to go play them down there late in the year, and they've lost some big arms, I know, but any program can overcome that. It's probably them. Um, And I think South Alabama's off to a good start. Troy has been a little bit up and down, kind of like we have, but we got to play them down there this weekend. So that's all. It's always harder on the road, certainly. So, but it's just such a challenging league. Week in and week out. Very similar to the American, I think, in terms of the depth and the strength of the conference.
Talking Chris Finwood, ODU coach, can you give us a few names to watch out for tomorrow? Some guys in your lineup that might cause the Pirates some problems?
Well, we've got a couple guys off to good starts. TJ Aiken, our center fielder, is swinging the bat well, getting on base. He's doing a good job. Zach Lade, our first baseman, is driving in a bunch of runs for us. Maverick Stallings, our second baseman, is doing the same thing. Those guys are off to a really good start. Tyler Zadalis, who's DH some and played in the outfield, has hit some home runs. So, we've swung the bats for the most part pretty well. And I think that, we've just got to be better at the routine things. We got to be better at making routine plays on defense and, being able to get that guy in from third on offense. That's a big thing. We weren't great at that this weekend. We had been pretty good at it, but as the pitching ticks up and you play better people, they make that a little bit more difficult. So you got to focus a little more and make sure you're scoring that guy from third in less than 2 outs. Those are things we're really focusing on this week.
I was looking at your roster just a glance, Coach. Saw a couple of Raleighs, a Charlotte, a lot of Virginia, obviously, Maryland, South Carolina, New Jersey. So big, South, Mid-Atlantic, East Coast. Do you have a general philosophy there? You're obviously looking for the best talent where you can get it, but do you have a recruiting philosophy?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, Virginia gets picked over pretty early in the high school ranks by everybody. And so, we probably got more kids from, the Northeast in terms of the high school recruits than we do from the state. Typically between Richmond and Tidewater is our kind of corridor for recruiting. We don't have a lot of Northern Virginia kids in the program. And North Carolina's and South Carolina have been pretty good to us the last few years. So we're getting some kids from some of those programs down here, not too far away. Good league, and now with the new ballpark coming, I think that's attractive to them.
Coach, when you think ODU and baseball and you think about your success, you also think about Justin Verlander. And for the last 20 or whatever years, he's been busy during your baseball season. But does he ever show up around Norfolk? People still talk about him up there?
Yeah, well, they obviously talk about him. Guy's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. We don't see him much around here. He's a pretty busy guy, I suppose, but we don't see him much. The guy we see a lot of is Vinny Pasquantino, the first baseman for the Royals, who played for us as well, and he's actually the captain of Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic. So Vinny comes around a lot, gives back, and spends time here in the off season. He's from Richmond, Virginia, originally, so not too far from home, and he makes his home in Nashville nowadays, but he comes back often.
When I see ODU, I think Kent Bazemore is a guy from right down the road here in eastern North Carolina. So another.
Well, when I first got here, he was playing, and boy, he was a fun guy to watch play, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
Special.
Coach, wish you the best of luck, man. Appreciate you joining us. Enjoyed the chat today. We'll see you in Greenville tomorrow, man.
All right, thanks. We're looking forward to it. It looks like we got great weather, so we're happy.
Yes, sir. We'll provide that for you at least.
Yeah, so. February was rotten everywhere, and so March has gotten here. Maybe we'll have a little better luck with March.
Yes, sir. Hey, hope it's a good one. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.